Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
Welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm Marlene Cuellar.
I'm Asani Kayatano.
And thank you for joining us this morning.
It is Tuesday.
Yes, it is.
And if I'm not mistaken, it is the 27th, is it?
It is the 26th of November, the final week of November.
I'm in the future, Marlene. You gotta, bring me back down to earth.
You're in the future and I'm trying to stave it off. I just can't believe we're so rapidly approaching the end of the year.
Time flies fast.
Yeah,
rather
a bit
fast.
too fast. No, and of course, we're going to keep you updated as we go along. The good part about it is that we're getting ready for anniversary celebrations here at Channel 5.
Indeed we are.
Well, let's take a break there and check in on our weather. And we have Francisca on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, my dear. How are you?
I am good. And how about you?
I am good too. Is it John there with you?
No, it's Isani this morning. You get a treat.
Oh, I was wondering about the fried jacks or the fried cake.
I don't know. Isani, do you cook?
No, I don't.
Oh,
I enjoy a nice home cooked meal, but I myself haven't touched the pot in a while.
No luck for you, Francisca.
Oh boy, oh boy.
All right. But of course, what's the weather going to be like today?
Okay, today we'll see fairly good weather, sunny, a few cloudy spells, isolated showers. But later tonight we'll be seeing increase in shower activity, firstly over the south, and then by tomorrow morning over most areas, especially coastal areas. And the reason is because we have what we call a moist surge coming over us. We have an increase in wind speeds in what we said in lower levels, so it's transporting moisture over us. So hence the increase in shower activity.
Okay. And so you said we'll start seeing that by this
Later
afternoon
tonight,
into this evening? Tonight?
Later tonight, yes.
All right. And starting in the south?
That's right.
Okay. And what about the winds?
Winds today will be out of the east, 5 to 15 knots, and producing slight to light chop seeds.
And the high temperatures?
Not so high, 86 along the coast, 89 inland, 78 up in the Maya Mountains. And overnight, 80 along the coast, 74 inland, and 70 up in the Maya Mountains.
All right. So let's take a closer look at that extended forecast. Tomorrow night, we start seeing some showers.
Tonight,
sorry.
Tonight. All right. Firstly over the south, and then by tomorrow morning, we'll be seeing it over our area, across the country, but especially around coastal areas.
And how long will it stick around?
Okay, that will continue Wednesday night into Thursday, and by Thursday afternoon, we'll begin to see a decrease again.
Okay. All right. Is it going to be a lot of showers or just isolated shower here or there?
No, we are going for some. We are going for more than isolated.
Oh, okay. So we got rainy days ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we've been warned. That's the best you can do. All right, let's talk about what's happening in the tropics. Does it seem like we're going to close off the hurricane season with no surprises?
No, not at this time. We aren't seeing anything. It's very quiet.
Good.
Very quiet.
We like that news. All right, Francisca, thank you so much for that update.
You're welcome.
You have a great day today.
Thanks, and same to you guys.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Man, I was just thinking it's going to remain dry for the rest of the week, especially for those who are into the whole Thanksgiving thing and are going to be out and about with their turkey dinner sales. And we put that umbrella, Marlene.
You will have to. So we're expecting showers as of tomorrow night into Wednesday and Thursday. So do take that into consideration if you're planning any outdoor activity or if you have to be moving around as well.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to shift gears to the eye opener. And the eye opener taken from dailyom.com goes like this. Meditating with the sounds of nature will help you connect to something larger than yourself. The tool most commonly used to focus our minds in meditation is the breath. When we sit down to meditate, drawing our attention inward counteracts our habitual tendency to be scattered. Meditation on the breath helps us gather our energy into our bodies, centering and grounding us in the present moment. Almost as readily available as our breath are the sounds of the natural world. From rain to wind to the ocean and birds, meditating on these aural manifestations brings us not only a sense of peace, but also an experience of connection to the physical world. Rivers and lakes also sing their own songs. Even if you live in the middle of a city, the wind howls and whistles, and the rain taps out a variety of sounds depending on where it falls, on the sidewalk, a tin roof, a car window, or a muddy slope. Tune into these sounds next time you hear them instead of letting them fade into the background. Stop and listen as if you're hearing a sublime piece of music. Let the music of this world take you on a journey of natural sounds.
For some reason, I'm not the biggest on meditation. Well, I don't consider it meditation. Like, there are times during the day or when I have, like I'd say, alone time where I do kind of reflect and look inward, but I wouldn't really describe it as meditation. However, when you look at what is being described here as aural manifestations, right? The natural sounds and sometimes even the sights when you're out and about. One of the more striking ones to me that allows me to be able to reflect as well is when you're in front of the sea.
Yeah.
The sounds of the waves either crashing or calmly ebbing and flowing, and then the sounds of the birds, the smell of the salt air. All of that, I mean, it allows you to either conjure certain memories of the past, or it allows you to be able to reflect on either yourself or things that you want to do.
Yeah.
And so the eye-opener for me speaks to being able to appreciate nature for a meditative purpose, right? Perhaps you're out in the forest and you hear the crickets, you hear the birds as well, and that sort of stuff. Or it's just the drizzle, the fine drizzle as it taps on the leaves. It allows you, it takes you to a certain mental place where you're able to look inward.
Yeah, and I think for me, you know, that's really what resonates. There's something about the natural sounds in our environment that can be so soothing. Even the loud birds in the morning, if you give them, that's for you, Henry. But, you know, I mean, I won't say dogs barking, that's a stretch.
Yeah.
But there's something about we are allowed to be exposed to so much of nature's music. You know, we can go by the sea, people along the river. Sometimes you can hear actual animals. If you're living somewhere that's closer to the forest, you could hear the crickets singing at night. And so we have all of this just kind of playing in the background, and we don't pay attention until we focus. And I think that's what I like about it. It takes a bit of focus, because you can sit outside and not hear anything. But the minute you allow yourself to tune out even your own thoughts for a moment and just pay attention to what the leaves sound like in the wind, and you know, as you say it, I can see it, because that's just what we are blessed and privy to have in this country.
But you know what it is, Marlene?
We shouldn't take it for granted.
Yeah. What we are adjusted to, if I may, is tuning out ambient sounds, right? Those are the natural sounds that are around us, but we're so engrossed in our own thoughts or our own activities that for whatever reason those sounds get completely faded away into the background. It's when you, like you said, put aside your thoughts for a second and actually tune in, and that's when you realize they're industrial noises, there are natural sounds, you know. Same thing for light. You know, there's natural sunlight, there's street lights, vehicle lights. It's the same thing. It's just when you tune out one thing and focus on the other, that's when you could realize everything that's happening in the environment.
And that's where sometimes you can find your sense of calm. And I think that's what the eye-opener really...
Your Zen moment.
Yeah, the eye-opener really tries to get us there. So if you're struggling this morning, you know, you probably have a couple more minutes left before the hustle and bustle sounds kick in to perhaps enjoy some of nature's music for you this morning and take the opportunity to do so, right? And with the eye-opener out of the way, your morning motivation, it's time for a little chit-chat.
The morning tea, Marlene.
That's right.
Wow. It's an interesting question we're asking here because it's fitting for the season. It says here, what's your favorite Christmas local tradition? Wow. Well,
and
let's
I
see how
know,
this
can I
has
just
evolved.
sell out some of your secrets? I know you're big into Christmas preparations.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. It's one of those things, Marlene, where as a child, I used to look forward to the three of us, myself and my two siblings, going along with my mom, because it was never really my dad's thing to go Christmas shopping, right? And so as a child, I could recall weeks ahead of actually going shopping, we would do the window shopping session, right? So we would go to Micado's, because we have to pick out the curtains and all the other cloth materials that go along with it. Then we would go to Romax, back in the days, right? We'd go to Romax
Downtown.
and we'd look at different toy selections and stuff like that. Of course, you'll get a new pair of, a new pair of shoes. You'll get a Christmas outfit and a New Year's outfit. And then we used to go to Bluebird's ice cream. That would top it off, right? You go in there and sit. You get your fried chicken, and your dessert would be nice local spun
The
ice cream.
swirl ice cream.
And so that was a tradition, right?
Yeah.
Times have changed since,
Yeah.
considerably. I've kind of grown out of the overall Christmas mood, but certain things remain in place, like being able to go out and do the same kind of shopping, because for some reason I inherited that from my mom, right?
Yeah.
I still do my rounds, go to Mikado, buy the stuff, come home, decorate, you know, and make sure that my child, or in this case, my children are able to experience the same, the same tradition, so to speak, and they would be able to carry it on. And so that for me is the local tradition.
Yeah.
Aside from, the midnight mass,
Yeah.
you have Christmas Eve going into Christmas, and then you have New Year's Eve going into New Year's as well.
Yeah.
So those are, for me, in my family, some of the traditions that we held there.
And they're all very common, I think.
Yeah.
You know, you really took me back with that window shopping. I really saw myself this high walking down Albert Street just now, arguing with
Look,
my
Marlene,
siblings about which toy we're
if
going
you
to get.
have a parent who is a teacher, right? Teachers get paid once a month, right? So that indeed in the Christmas season, they would get paid in advance, right? But however, you don't just get paid and decide, okay, we'll round up the kids and go and shop. You got to go at least a week or two beforehand, because it's still an all-day affair to go out there and try to pick out stuff, right? And when you have someone meticulous like myself, we used to go into Gaillard's or all these other places, and well, the shirt have to match our pants. If I don't find it there, we have to go somewhere else, and it was a headache. But all of that was part of the experience. Right?
Well, I mean, I had it, I guess, a bit different, just because I had to walk past Albert Street every day going home after school. So it was just every day drooling over the toys that were out there. And as I said, with my siblings arguing, you have siblings, it's always about who's going to get it and who's not going to get it. Every single day. I do love that window shopping memory that you gave me. I don't know who doesn't know it, but I love Christmas ham. Like, I just love it. And for me, there's the smell of the ham baking in the middle of the night, because most of the times your parents cook at night. My mom would cook at night, so you wake up to that smell of Christmas ham. The minute I smell a ham cooking, it takes me back to my childhood at Christmas. And that's why I love it so much. I mean, naturally it's delicious, but we talked about soundtrack for city life or living in Belize. That's part of the smells that will take me back to a particular time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You're smelling that ham now, aren't you?
I'm thinking about things I used to do as a child on Christmas Day, actually. I used to binge watch The Christmas Story. I think it's absolutely the best script for a movie, the best acting, you know. And
Have you ever tried licking ice after that?
sorry?
Have you ever tried licking ice after that?
Thankfully, I've never ventured off in that direction. Not even when I was abroad, where you had metal lampposts and stuff like that. But yeah, that's one of the things that I remind myself about every year. You know, as a child, I used to sit down and watch The Christmas Story on repeat all day, and I used to marvel about how well written the script was and the acting. Amazing stuff. Those are childhood memories, though.
I know. And you know what? It just puts a smile on my face to start the day. So, yeah, it's a great thing to reflect on. What are your traditions locally in your house or that you do in your own community that are very meaningful to you, that really makes you know that Christmas time is setting in? Go ahead and share that with us and, you know, have that conversation with your kids. They probably don't know how different Christmas was for you when you were growing up. So go ahead and share it. But we got to get moving into our show for today. And we're starting off with a conversation with the Belize Association for Persons with Diverse Ability. World Disability Day is coming up, and they're going to have the National Games, the Special Olympics Belize, at the end of this week. And we're also going to be talking to this organization about the work that they're doing to commemorate people with diverse abilities across the country.
Our second conversation this morning is with our friends from Sacred Heart Junior College. They will be hosting an open day later this week, and so we'll have them on the couch with us, telling us everything that we need to know about this particular open day.
All right, and in preparing for the Christmas season, what about having a bit of wine? We're actually going to do some wine tasting with a new business that's opened up in Belize City. It's called Vinotopia, and we're going to get a little bit of a taste as well as some education about how to pick that perfect wine.
Nice.
All right, so that's our lineup for this morning. We're going to go ahead and take a break. Before we do, though, we got that birthday shout out, and we're saying happy birthday to
Amos Bennett. Happy birthday, Amos.
That's right. Do enjoy from all of us here at Channel 5 and Open Your Eyes. We'll take that break now, and we'll be back with our conversation in just a few.
With over 100 years of service
And welcome back. We are commencing our first segment of the conversations we're having this morning, and that is, of course, the conversation on diverse abilities. We have with us on the couch this morning our good friends from BAPTA, the Belize Association for Persons with Diverse Ability. We have the manager for NARCI, Erlet Thomas. Good morning. In the middle is Roxanne Marin. She's the president of BAPTA.
Morning.
Good morning. And on the far end is Felicia Garbut. She's a teacher at Stella Maris Primary School. Good morning,
morning.
ladies.
Good morning, good morning, guys.
How do we kick off the week in terms of celebrating persons with diverse abilities?
Well, as usual, the first thing we need to do is to give God thanks. And so we are starting off with a church service at Trinity, at the roundabout by Fabers Road. Right there, we're having our service this year.
All right. So what's the schedule of events thereafter?
On Monday, we have 2 separate events, and we kind of have a little clash there, but we'll see how we work it out. On Monday, we have a conference. The conference is Inclusive Education, Embracing Diversity. And that conference will be, NARCI is holding that conference, and we're inviting teachers from around the country, and we're looking at teachers who aren't usually invited at our workshops and our conference. We're trying to broaden our horizon and invite teachers who are in the rural areas and those who are not really part of our system, so that we can actually train them and, you know, so
Have
that they
more
learn
people
more
know how to
about,
work
so
with-
that they learn more about children with special needs in the inclusive setting. Because our aim is to have children more in the inclusive setting than to put them at Stella Maris. They are only placed at Stella Maris if their behavior or their academic achievement cannot reach that of those in a regular classroom setting.
So let's stick up in there and go back a bit. I can recall a number of years ago where persons, or in this case children with diverse abilities, were automatically, or it seemed that way,
It seems
it
that
seemed that way, that they were automatically sent off to Stella Maris, as opposed to this sense of inclusion where they can coexist in the same classroom setting as other persons who are, you know, either properly fit, for want of a better description.
Well, for us to make our decision, there is an assessment that is done. And based on the assessment, then we make a decision, or we can only make recommendation to the parents that you can send your child to Stella Maris, or you can put them in the regular classroom setting.
Yeah.
But sometimes it doesn't work out, and then we have to revert to sending them to Stella Maris.
And so I want to add to that. Since the convention for the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities was signed and ratified in 2011, there have been strategic steps made with inclusion of children into the regular school settings.
Yeah.
Nice.
So what I understand is that you're saying that the ideal situation is that children with special needs should be integrated into any of the already existing schools across the country.
Well, Stella Maris have its place.
Yeah.
So,
and Stella Maris is
it
for
depends on the level. You have mild, moderate, and severe
Yeah.
disability. So it all depends on the level of disability and the type of disability.
Yeah.
Because, for example, we have students who are deaf. Those who are deaf, if you don't have the communication, then you know you're keeping back the students. And
Yeah.
so those who are deaf and live in Belize City, we'd rather send them to Stella Maris School, because they learn their language there
Yeah.
and they're able to communicate there.
Yeah.
They fit better. We try to find the most enabling environment, and they fit better at Stella Maris.
Yeah.
You have some children with autism who can cope in the regular school
Yeah.
system, and so they go to the regular school system, but you have those who are severe with autism who cannot be in
Yeah.
the regular school
Who
system.
don't communicate,
So
yeah,
we have to
verbally.
put them at Stella Maris. We have some students who we might need to turn, who you might need to take to the bathroom, who the regular school system will not accept them.
Yeah.
And that is how we
Yeah.
make our decisions.
So it's more the severe cases that would go there. Now, I want to step back a bit, because I think when we talk about special needs in general, people only imagine, or the first image that comes to mind is exactly the case, the children with severe issues that are at Stella Maris. But there is a range. Can you talk about what you have been seeing? You've been at NARCY for quite a while now, and what people should know is that you offer assessments to help, especially with intellectual disabilities, to help parents categorize whether there's an issue and what type of issue it is, and also how to help them learn.
Okay, we have like 13 different service categories.
Yeah.
And as you rightly mentioned, those with intellectual disability might not be overt,
Yeah.
unless you're looking at some children with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
But you have those who, their IQ is just very low, and so they cannot function in the regular school system. And then you have those who might have spina bifida. You are seeing them, they're sitting down and they look normal. You don't think anything is wrong with them. They speak, they say what they have to say, they can communicate well, but they cannot control their bowels. And so the parent would have to come in and take care of them. You have to teach them rhythm method and all of those things. So that is what we looked at. NARCY does the assessment, and based on the assessment, we make the recommendation, and the parent make the final decision. I can tell you your child belong at Stella Maris or should be. That is the most enabling environment. But if you say no and you want your child to go to a regular school, then we also help you with that.
Okay.
Can we say perhaps it's because of a certain stigma that was also attached to Stella Maris that allows, or I shouldn't say allow, that sort of puts parents in a corner where they would prefer that their child or their children go to a normal school, excuse me, as opposed to going to Stella Maris, notwithstanding what the evaluation says?
A lot of parents or individuals that is in the wider community do not know what happens at Stella Maris. So from the onset here in Stella Maris, this stigma exists.
Yeah.
Feel like categorize it as dumb, or my child not dumb for the God of Stella Maris and stuff like that. And because of that stigma, people feed off that stigma, and it goes beyond, and that is beyond our control. They don't know what is happening behind the gates of Stella Maris. Wonderful things have been happening there since I have started in 2010 and previous years.
Yeah.
But it's just for the wider community, the wider society to know what is happening, and in order to remove that stigma.
Yeah.
Okay, now back to Disability Awareness Week.
Yes.
Also on Monday, we'll also have
the launch of BABTA National Disability ID cards. That's going to be happening Monday, the 2nd December, Corner Vernon and Tibru Street, where we host BABTA's office. It starts at 10 a.m. We are inviting not only BABTA members, but also different sponsors, the different ministries or definitely our partners. Thereafter, we march over to the cemetery, where we'll be placing a wreath on Honorable Philip Colson's grave, he being the icon for disabilities that started in 1985. So that is BABTA's big activity. We've been working on these ID cards for the last 3 years, and we've finally gotten to the point that, hey, it's happening.
What's the purpose of the ID card, and what does it seek to do for members who are in possession of that card?
Well, first and foremost is to even identify our population. We don't have statistics so much, and so this is an invitation for especially organizations in the districts that we may not have that reach to come and incorporate. And keep in mind, disabilities is not just physical, it's cognitive, it's intellectual. When you get to an early age, there are certain physical aspects, probably several, multiple. And so we definitely have different organizations that has gotten the ID cards along with us. Stella Maris definitely being the first partner with BABTA. And so additionally,
the students will be getting cards?
Yes.
Okay.
They've been a part of BABTA's membership. One of the challenges when I came on with BABTA that we had observed, there are several services, like we said when the convention was signed, several things has been done for children. Awesome. However, when they reach the 16 years, these services are not continuous. And so they come to BABTA, and BABTA is the umbrella organization. We were a key organization motivating behind and getting the United Nations Convention signed and ratified in Belize. And so since then, all these amazing other organizations have emerged, However, we are still advocacy. We don't do services.
Yeah.
The most services that we do offer is with international partners that isn't even offered within the country for our population.
Yeah.
So it's important that, yes, we get the ID cards, not only for documentation purposes and statistical purposes. In the year of 2019, we have had several incidences with our membership with autism and police interaction. And so when you look at somebody with autism, you might not realize that there is a challenge. And so simple processing of that individual is critical in not aggravating the situation. And so situations like those, there's also the benefit of having the ID card when you have a hidden disability. In my case, prime example, you look at some people and you don't know what is wrong with them. That is not their responsibility to explain every time. So this gives even our membership a little relief in certain aspects of everyday life. And this is everyday life. Me going into a line is everyday life. People might have, and so keep in mind that we recently did a front of the line campaign with National Council of Aging for persons with disabilities, elderly persons, pregnant women, and adults with children under 2 years. And this is to expand the services, not just to put up a sign, which is wonderful, and say that we offer it, and to have the line, but also to have things like chairs or to have an accessible area for persons that are unable to walk and may have a wheelchair. So the ID card is very essential.
So you said about 300 cards will be distributed?
Yes.
Okay, across the country?
Yes.
Now, who have you worked with to have the card recognized?
So far, Chamber of Commerce primarily,
Nice.
reaching into the business houses then for them to understand, not just to put in these features, but to educate their employees. Because it's wonderful to have it, and if the employees are not following through, then it's not as effective.
I
Have
got
you
in the
talked
second
with
direction. Sorry, go ahead.
Just the police or the hospitals? Because
Yeah.
that's when I was thinking, if I have an 18-year-old
department.
autistic child who may appear, exactly as you said, completely normal to everyone else, but won't be able to communicate or process normally, they could at least have something to...
I agree. We have a 12 months phase that we will implement throughout the country. And so reaching out to different businesses, reaching out to the health organizations. We have started it, but we haven't confirmed to see what is going to be the scope of how they... Keep in mind, like things like hospitals, some persons that would suffer a stroke, they're not going to be incapable for the rest of their life. So they're not necessarily entitled to a card. However, they may be entitled to certain services in the time that they are suffering this stroke.
There's
So-
some temporary
Correct.
disability.
There's so like
you
there's
you have your foot broken, but
Correct.
you're, you know, then you no
Yeah.
longer have a disability.
correct.
So that's just one day. That's Monday, right?
That's just Monday. That's just Monday.
That's Monday, the conference.
And we're talking
and
about
then-
next
And then
week,
we
the
have
conference.
Tuesday too. Tuesday we'll also have the conference. The conference continues Monday and Tuesday. And we can't forget Inspiration Center. They're not here being represented this morning, but they're also a part of this entire planning of the week. On Wednesday, they will have the launch of their calendar, right? And that is very important because what they do, they use children with disability to do the drawings to help to make up this calendar. And so that was an initiative of our First Lady, Envoy for Women and Children. And so during Disability Week, every year they launch that calendar.
And then on Thursday,
Then on Thursday is the big parade, the big rally that we do through the streets. It starts at 9 a.m. at Memorial Park with a short ceremony that is being done mainly by individuals living with a disability. The program is scheduled for half an hour, and from there we proceed with a parade. It starts right at Memorial Park, North Front Street, onto Albert Street, and it ends at Yabra, where we will have a small little get-together with the participants.
Okay.
And then on Friday, we will have Special Olympics. We have all the children from around the country with intellectual disability. They'll come together and participate in games, and we'll have them, every single body, whether you win or not, you will get a ribbon. For those first and second and third, will get a, the others will get a ribbon, they will get a medal.
Okay.
everybody wins.
Everybody wins.
Yeah.
And that is very, very important too, because we don't only want to concentrate on the intellectual ability of children, but we also want to look at the health aspect of it. And for you to participate in year-round sports, that's health. And at the games, we usually have our medical personnel, and we have dentists who are there to help them to understand their health. And these are doctors who have been trained and who have been working with us for a while. So that too is extremely important.
And so, you know, I thought that was such an important, but we had the police department on to talk about the law enforcement torch run, which will culminate in Belize City on that Friday for the National Games. But, you know, Erlet, maybe you could shed some, sorry, Felicia, can you shed some light for us? Because you work with the kids there, and I think that very often we talk about children with disabilities or special needs or whichever term people choose to use. But what you're really saying is that they have a capacity to be great at something, and you're working with them directly, teaching them skills. What do you think that the wider public fails to understand about these children?
That these children, they are regular human beings. They can accomplish milestones just at a different pace than myself.
Yeah.
For example, we implemented skills at our school, woodwork, food prep, and sewing. And I am the sewing teacher. I have a set of students. They love it. And the stuff that they create, if people only know that the stuff that they take out there to sell, because some of the products they do take out and some of the business community do have them to sell the products, and it is something amazing that they are doing.
Yeah.
It's just that they do it at a different pace, at a slower pace, but they get it done.
Yeah.
Whether it's a month, 2 months, they get the job done, they get the task done. So it's, to me, they are regular just like anyone else.
And what do you see in the kids when they complete their tasks?
What do I see?
What's their reaction?
Pride and joy.
Pride. I'm so happy when, if it's something simple, like even if I am teaching in the classroom and it's something that they're unbutton, zip, unzip, buckle their belt at the end of the school year, at the end of the term, it's something great that they have accomplished, because at the beginning they couldn't do it. So it's amazing and rewarding at the end of the term, the week, the year, when these students accomplishes these simple tasks.
Yeah.
It's just that at their own pace they do it.
She has a student that is a member, that attends meeting. They're all members, but she attends meeting, and she's very active in Baptist activities. And they had cultural day, and she sewed her own outfit.
Oh.
I saw her coming down the street with the basket, and she's glowing, and what's going on? And she's like, sewed her own outfit, headpiece, frills, cultural.
She displayed the Creole culture because we had a cultural showcase, and she displayed the Creole culture, and she presented her outfit that she did herself within 2 weeks. She did it.
I think we have to, the public have to realize that our students can. Everybody can.
Yeah.
And so we need to push that. And I think sometimes people don't really understand if they are not a part and parcel of this entire thing. Some parents don't understand why should a child be included, because they think, okay, if that child is not speaking well, my child will revert to not speaking too. And because of some of the myths out there, we have a little problem with some parents accepting children with special needs into the regular classroom system. And so we continuously, as a body, Inspiration Center, NARS, Stella Morris, BCVI, everybody, we continue to advocate, and we continue, it's like we're sensitizing every single year.
Yeah.
But that is what we need to do to get people to understand that we have a population out there who need us to be out there for them, then we have to continue to do it.
And we still don't have data, right, in terms of numbers of children, adults. What do we have available?
Some data.
We have some data.
We have some data. We have data of children who are our clients.
Okay.
If they're our clients, and that is only
So if the parent
primary
took
school
them
age.
to ministry
only
education.
primary school age, if the parent took them, but we have been doing some kind of intersectoral, and then we have human development. We have the Ministry of Education, who, if they go out and they find children with special needs, they would come and tell us that, okay, this child needs an assessment, and if we go out and we find children who need to be diagnosed, then we will take them to the doctor. And so we have been building some kind of information system.
Yeah.
And then now with the Ministry of Education, with Open EMIS, we can enter the disability and we can enter some of the comments, some of the things that we have been doing with the students, and so we're building a database. But we only have for those who have reported and for those in the system. If you're out of the system, then you're just
And we
not
have so
counted.
many undocumented.
I was going to ask, because once upon a time, and I hope it's not still the case, where the parents used to just keep them locked up at home,
We still have
out
a
of
few.
shame.
Unfortunately, that is still a reality in some homes. Unfortunately.
Because of that stigma, my child won't attend. I don't want my child to attend Stella Maris.
And when we say not only Stella Maris, but we have, as I said, that we want the child to go to the most enabling environment. And so in the district, there is no Stella Maris.
Yeah.
So the child will be in an inclusive setting if the parents choose to send that child to school. So what we have done on the ministry Ministry of Education, what we have done is to create special education classroom within the schools.
Okay.
And so if you go to Toledo and you have a child with autism or a child with Down syndrome or a child who is deaf, you have Punta Gorda Methodist that will accept your child, and there's a classroom. You have Forest Home Methodist that will accept.
Yeah.
If you go to Dangriga, then you'll find Holy Ghost. If you go to Cayo, you will find Santa Elena, and then you have United Evergreen and Garden City, all in the Cayo district. In Belize City, we don't have any because we have
Stella Maris. Yeah.
And then we have some schools like St. Joseph who would accept students who are blind.
Yeah.
We have a school like St. Ignatius who works with children with autism.
Yeah.
We have schools like Trinity Methodist and St. John's, and those are just a few.
Nazarenes, yeah.
Nazarene accept those who are deaf.
Yeah.
We have two interpreters there,
Yeah.
and 2 students in Fort Farm.
Yeah.
And so we have schools who we work with, and those are the schools that we try to make little deals with to take in our children. For example, you have a child who is deaf. The child already does not understand English, and you have to learn the child language, so the child cannot take Spanish. And so those are some of the accommodations that we'll make with the
I didn't even
students.
think of that.
Yeah.
You're right.
And then we have students at Orange Walk Technical. We have 3 students at Orange Walk Technical.
Yeah.
They're all deaf, and the school is making accommodation to work with them. So it's not only in Belize City. In Corozal, we have Mary Hill, we have Shonosh, and we have San Narciso.
And you have the Kaya School for
the
deaf.
deaf. And then in a school that does inclusion a lot is St. Peter's
Yes.
Anglican School. They have their classrooms, and within the classroom, they would pull out the child for a few minutes. They go to the center, they do to the resource center, they do a little work, they go back to the classroom, and those who are more severe are in the special education classroom. So things have been happening, maybe not as fast as it should be, but we're getting there eventually.
You said something so important, and that's where I wanted to go, because we are improving in terms of how we are able to recognize that children have special needs, that some can be integrated into regular schools. And you said that sometimes it's the parents of the other children who are having a challenge accepting inclusive education. As we move up, though, it seems to be becoming a more of a challenge. So you have to get high schools on board. What about junior colleges or universities? And this is where I know, Roxanne, we've talked about it. After the children leave Stella Maris, after they come out of an inclusive school or a special needs setting at primary level, maybe even secondary level, what's available for the young adults?
Well, just stealing a little bit of Stella Maris, but there is a transition plan that we work with some students, especially those that go to Stella Maris. So this transition plan should start at age 12.
Yeah.
You look at the child, you look at what the child potential is, and you try the child the first year. So you might take the child to a business place. You believe that the child is interested in mechanic. That is what the child said, and that is what you were working towards. And the child went to the mechanic shop and didn't like it. And then the child would say, okay, I prefer barbering. Then we'll take the child to the barber shop. The child practices there. And if the child is able to cope there, sometimes there are different things that can happen. The barber would usually keep the child. The child would go into IT vet or skills training or Gateway Youth Center and try to build on that skill. But those are most of our children who are in Belize City. We don't have the business places in some of the districts to do that.
And you find businesses cooperating and taking in students?
They're more
Yes.
receptive.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Several
Because children with disabilities will become adults with disabilities. And so
If
we
they're
need
not
to
being taught
foster the
correct.
environment.
And of
Right
course,
through.
Babta's future plan,
Yeah.
we are looking for our own land. We're setting up all these wonderful things happening. Babta has now outgrown the space that we rent inside the Mental Health Resource Center. And so our dream and our plan that will come into effect soon, we're looking for a land. Babta has been doing amazing things for the last 15 or so years on its own. And so we have to start putting responsibility where it should be done at
Yeah.
state level. And so we've been reaching out, and I'm planting the seed right here, right now. There's been interaction made to say, we're going to get this land. There have been several situations that land has been put on the table, something happened, we didn't get it, space was to be allotted to us, we didn't get it, it's all water under the bridge. At this point, for us to grow as an organization for persons with disabilities, we need places like independent living for persons with disabilities. It's horrific that persons with special needs that are employed are being violated primarily by their family members.
Yeah.
And so they don't want to press charges. However, these are criminal acts being done to you, and because of your capacity, you're not, independent living is a must for Belize to go when it comes to persons with disabilities that are employed.
Yeah.
When it comes to having skill sets, these are things that must be set in place for children when they have their future. We can't be having all these wonderful services and then we expect them to still be a productive citizen and not giving
Yeah.
them those tools.
And just the long-term effects, because that's the biggest thing. If a child has a skill and has the capacity but can't make any money from it, then you're actually adding on an extra mouth to feed for that family until...
And Belize, and this is why I say about Belizeans, families where have persons with such special needs, it's amazing what they do for the entire lifespan of a person with special needs.
Yeah.
We might not even, it's not customary for us to be, kind, apparently, the younger generation now. So imagine the children that would be born that have these needs to be met and will not have compassionate persons to tend to them. What happened today? At the end of the day, persons with such special needs deserve dignity and respect like everybody else.
That's right.
Regardless
First and
of what
foremost.
my situation may be,
That's right.
you have no right to jeer at me, to taunt me, to point at me, and to treat me than less of a human. That is the first and foremost when it comes to persons with special needs. And so, in this population right now, it's estimated that 15% of your population has special needs. That would be like 70,000 Belizeans. We have less than 1,000 documented. And so there's a grave need for us to know where they are, know what we need to do for them, and see simple things like social security benefits. That is a conversation that needs to be had, that was being had several years ago, but was never followed upon. However, everyday living is dependent on family members for everything, for health, for food, for live. So it's important that we know where our people are, that we make provisions for them for the future. This is not
So if I'm watching and I have a child, or even, they might be an adult now, where do I go? Where do I register them so that they're in the system?
If it's a child, then you go to nursing.
Okay.
If it's an adult, we deal with school age from 5 to 14.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that we won't
You'll turn over.
assist if you have a child 3 years old at the preschool level. As long as the preschool would call, then we would visit and we do that. But once it's out of school age, then you go to BAPTA.
And keep in mind, we do referrals. We're an advocacy and referral organization. And so persons with special needs, we refer them primarily into the government system, Women's Department. They have certain benefits that are offered to persons with special needs.
Yeah.
At the end of this conversation, when we move from here, we want to know that regardless if you're a child, if you're an adult, it's the same treatment.
Yeah.
We have it's awesome to have a child that is disfigured that you put on a calendar and or whatever, and that's the poster child. And then when that child becomes older, they're pushed to the back.
They're forgotten.
Yeah.
That's
The
always my
continuity
concern.
is something that we're lacking and that we need to build on. And so just before I go, I just want to say Aloe Vera Community Neighborhood Watch is having their cleanup this weekend, Saturday. We start at 7 o'clock. We're working on Aloe Vera Street, Tibru Street, Estella Metzin, Mango Lane, and Violet Lane. And so I invite the neighbors and the residents to come out and clean out on the yard for Christmas, bring out all the dirt. We have Red Cross men, neighborhood police one
Only
day.
because it's
to the
a
council of the day.
good cause, we'll leave you with that free commercial.
Yeah. But when it comes to Bapta ID cards, the launch is going to be the Monday,
Yeah.
2nd December, 10 a.m. We have the pastor, Ruth Pipersburg.
Do we know what it's going to look like? So for anybody who haven't approached yet, that they can see it and know that this is the, like, how is it official?
Yes, it should be on the, yes.
Yeah.
That is what the Bapta ID card
Okay.
looks like. And so
that's what it's going to look like. So even if you've not been in contact with BAPTA, if a person presents with it, that's what you can expect to see.
and my phone number at the I'm so sorry, at the organization is 631-0724. That is the number for Bapta. You can contact us,
Awesome.
and we'll make arrangements if you are unable to come and take your picture
Yeah.
at our location. We have our outreach program also.
And Felicia, on behalf of your lovely students, please tell us, what would you like for people to do differently or think differently in terms of how we view children with special needs?
Just to accept them for who they are, regardless of their disability. They can, like I said before, they can do wonders. Just accept them within the business community, the health department, wherever these students go.
In your neighborhood.
In your neighborhood,
Don't
parents,
taunt
everyone,
persons with
don't
special
taunt them
needs.
because they're individuals just like us.
Their feelings,
So
yeah, absolutely.
just to accept them and respect them.
All right. And so all the activities kick off next week,
This Sunday,
Sunday.
1st
This
December,
Sunday.
Trinity Assembly.
right through to the 5th with the National Games here in
Through to the
Belize
6th.
City.
Yes.
True to the 6th.
All right. Anything else?
One other thing I'd like to add, the Ministry of Education, we are having a launch on Thursday, though? No. Yeah, we're having a launch where we will have 36 students who will be doing their masters in special education through the University of the West Indies. And I think that is very important because we have teachers out there who they always say, well, I don't know how to do that. We need training, we need this, we need that.
We need
And
the
so
training.
we're offering this special education and it's sponsored half. The Ministry of Education is paying half and the students paying half. So we'll have a batch of 36 teachers who will be trained in special education very soon.
I want to add though, the teachers at Stella Maris
We're
are
doing one.
trained in dealing with
are
children with special
amazing.
needs. And so they go an extra 10 miles. And I want to say applaud and thank you
Yeah.
to the teachers at Stella Maris because they do
Yeah.
outstanding and amazing job.
And you know, because the kids love them so much
Ah,
every time
oh my
you
goodness.
go there.
Oh my goodness.
But you
Okay,
know,
so-
we appreciate you coming in, and we appreciate you. This is an important reminder, not just that activities are coming up, but that there is this section of the population that we have to keep on thinking about and have to keep on ensuring that we are being as inclusive as possible from the school level right through to the wider society. So thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Disability Week this year is being planned by Stella Maris, Narcy, Bapta Inspiration Center.
Didn't even say the
And the
team.
Yes,
team?
and the theme, the future is accessible.
All right. And with that, we'll close off this segment. We're going to shift gears to talk with representatives of Sacred Heart Junior College. So please stay tuned.
Belize Bank's
we're back and we're moving into our second conversation for today. We have guests joining us from the West here to tell us all about their upcoming expo. We have representatives of Sacred Heart Junior College. We have Fermin Magana, who is the Dean of Sacred Heart Junior College. In the middle, we have Valine Hyde, who is a student in General Studies. And on this end, we have Angelique Ayuso, who is the Director of Student Services. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Thank you too. I know you guys had an early start to get here as well, right?
Yes.
But you've had your coffee. Yes. Good. So let's just get a bit of an update. And as the Dean Fermin, you can tell us a bit of just the growth of Sacred Heart over the years as a tertiary institution in Cayo.
Yes. We started in 1999 as a junior college. We have had a tradition of a high school for more than over 30 years before that. But we are happy to say that Sacred Heart Junior College has come a long way because we have grown from about 100 and odd students at the beginning, where we are close to 600 plus students right now.
Yeah.
So we're very happy about that.
How have the course offerings grown since then as well?
Well, at the beginning we had a natural resource management. Actually, it was a natural science program, a business program, and from there we have grown to over 9 programs now. The latest one of those is a accounting program and an early childhood education program.
Nice. That's great. Now, you know, it is accessibility in education is absolutely important. And I guess, you know, Angelique, we went to school together. You were from Cayo. You had to come to Belize City to be able to go to junior college. Having something within your own area with a broad offering of courses really allows people to have more accessibility to that education. But have you found people beyond just the actual community seeking out education in Sacred Heart?
Yes, we have. I must say that as of late, we're attracting a lot of people from the down south area.
Okay.
Nice. In the early 90s and the 2000s, we had a lot of people from up north. They were seeking the tourism program which we had at Sacred Heart that there was not available in up north, but now it's available. So we have less people from that area coming, but from the Punta Gorda and Dangriga area, we have a lot of people coming to us now, seeking to come to Sacred Heart. One of the attractive things that we have is our scholarship programs, where people are coming to play sports at Sacred Heart due to our scholarships that we offer to our students.
You offer sports scholarships?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Well, actually, I think we have scholarships that are, we won't say that they're not really publicized, but coming from a school that really embraces the Catholic ethos, we may, in our applications process, identify students, you know, in their admissions that have dire need, and we see the birth of some charitable type of scholarship, because we do focus on that family environment, because junior college is a transitionary phase of education, and this is where we have a high attrition rate. We focus very strongly on ensuring that we maintain and help to guide these young people, because when they graduate in June, they are considered teenagers, but in August, all of a sudden they're considered to be adults. But that it doesn't work like that. In many cases, and you know, our ad has been airing, I think for almost 2 weeks now, and it must go to say that it highlights real characters. We have Will Mark. He's one of our what we consider to be a goodwill scholar. We just identified a need out there because we really believe in the motto that education is available, because that's the push currently. And a lot of Belizeans, you know, if we have a problem at the high school level where we have probably close to 50% of our students not finishing high school, then the situation gets a bit worse at the junior college level. And so we try to have it accessible, meaning that we will give you opportunities for you to at least achieve that level of tertiary education. Along with that, in the scholarships, of course, the sports where we use the athletic ability to be able to get you through that part, and it also teaches you discipline, professionalism, and so forth. We've seen, I think over the past 2 years now, because one of our first, the pilot student is scheduled to graduate probably in July, is a police officer program. We've seen a lot of negative rap, negative responses on social media about our police officers, that they're unprofessional and whatever have you. And as a positive response to that, we created opportunities for lower ranking police officers that can find the time to, apply into our school, ensure that they finish the qualifications process, they go through everything like any other student, then they have an opportunity to apply for a scholarship that is specifically for police officers.
How does that tie into the overall scope of the police department and whatever curriculum is in place at the training academy?
Well, that's an interesting one, but we've had a beautiful marriage because currently, and I must call her out, Joan Stanford, she's a PC that is attached to the community policing department, and they work very closely with programs such as GRADE, where they actually go into a classroom and have to interact, instruct, and teach younger people, young students at the primary school level in the GRADE program. I could also foresee something like business administration because yes, you are trained as a police officer, but sometimes you are placed in positions where you have to manage an office, make different correspondences, arrange, design things, and I believe that this was a response to that to help to assist the police department.
What's been the interest?
So far, we've had business administration and tourism.
Okay.
And currently we have 4 officers in the program.
We're also working with the police department for a program where we'll teach them how to write properly in English. Some of them do need that. So we have already have them go through a placement test of sort for the English. And then from there, that would, we are working on the second part of this, which would be to get a cohort of police officers to come in and take a program where they will learn how to better write their reports.
But I'm
That's such a
surprised
great example of where an educational institution interjects in areas where there's a need. And it's not to say, I mean, we have some well-trained police officers, but there's some who perhaps never had the opportunity to go for tertiary education.
I think in identifying the need, there was, informal conversations because we try to maintain relationships with our stakeholders. I work very closely with community policing officers, particularly Mr. Jason Jones in San Ignacio. He does an exceptional job, and there was a need from his lower-ranking officers, like, I really want to go back to school. I really want to do this, but my schedule is not as forgiving. Sometimes financing, they don't have it. It's not as forthcoming, and we believe that this was an opportunity. What they provide back for us is, one, we don't know, we are living in changing times. We do have officers there, not to, intervene in anything, but just the simple fact that we have added security on campus, and they assist us with giving back hours, like at our sports matches, or, if we're having a fundraiser and these types of things.
I'm surprised that other institutions have not followed suit in such an initiative, considering the fact that we interact with police officers regularly, and there is a dire need for them to be able to, in the case that you pointed out, for them to be able to properly communicate in English, either written or orally. And you find that they interact with the public regularly as well, where they're taking down statements and those kinds of stuff, evidence collection and that sort of stuff. And you see the need for it. And when you look at the threshold for individuals who are interested in joining the department to have an academic background, most of them only go as far as what is the minimum requirement. And it's difficult thereafter because of either their transfers or their working hours for them to get back into schooling. So I applaud and commend the initiative on your end.
And let's get some time to talk about student life, because we have Valine here, and tell us about why did you choose General Studies and Sacred Heart?
Well, I attended tertiary level education institution before Sacred Heart. And it was a bit more difficult because it was further.
Yeah. You had to commute?
Yes. So when I came to Sacred Heart to try and finish up, the ambience was very much different. Everyone treats you like family. They're interested in having you finish your education. So therefore, it makes it very much easier. To want to be there and finish. I chose general studies because it is one of the fields that helps you to be. You experience a little bit of everything. Therefore, if you're confused about what you want to do, then that is the program for you because you get to do hands-on. You have hands-on experience in a lot of the courses, the tourism, the business department, and we also do science. It's a little bit of everything in that one program. So when you're finished with that program and you choose to go on to do a bachelor's or something, that way you can know, well, this is what I like to do now.
So Sacred Heart has helped you in terms of being able to eliminate your commute, and you can dedicate more time at school. Say it's a different environment, and your open day, I guess, is one of those activities that everyone can get on board. Tell me about that. Anyone?
About the open day, we had some photos sent in, and Valine is a general studies student, but she's also doing marketing. She's also fresh from Merida, where we visited an open day there, because they were looking for Belizean students to attend their institution. So general studies really give them an opportunity to really get around and feel. So if you take a look at her expertise, because her little initiative that they are selling or promoting for Open Day is the Tiki Touch. And she can tell you a bit more about that.
She's being shy with us.
I think she's nervous.
Well, our product is fruit jars. So it came about being a healthy snack and then eco-friendly because we do it in jars instead of plastics. That way you save the planet and you become a healthy you do healthy eating. You have fruits, fresh fruits from the market, and we cut them up and put them in the jars. You have toppings to choose from. So, and then it was very economic, and so even if you have just a quick little break, you can always pick one up.
Now, the marketing expos have become more and more popular, where we're really encouraging kind of entrepreneurship at a younger age and innovation, most importantly. How surprised are you at the ideas that the students are able to generate at this level?
I think I am amazed. I'm sold on the Tiki Touch, the fruit in a jar, because I love mason jars, and you do get one with your purchase. But about 2 weeks ago, we actually collabed with the University of Belize with students that are doing a like subject, and we had an expo in Belmopan, and I was amazed. We had, this year our theme is food items, and they had corn dogs, they had a crazy, natural local. It had on, I think, takis and that type of stuff. It sounded crazy, but it was delicious.
I'm sure.
Other things that we've seen over time, like detergents and cleaning agents. Actually, I believe school is still being supplied by some of the products that our students created in last year's batch. So the innovation is there, and as you mentioned, I think paradigms shifted, and we're seeing individuals owning businesses at a very young age, and this type of hands-on training is exceptional because when you look at these groups marketing, they did their photo shoots, and it looks really professional. And even if you're not a health freak, when you look at these amazing pictures and how it's being marketed, then it's like, I want that, I need that.
What else can we expect in terms of this overall Open Day and what it has to showcase?
The open day itself is an opportunity for us to bring in students to one, feel the ambience, experience the environment. Because a lot of the times I work with students at orientation, and it is amazing the anxiety level that we deal with. You know, I'm coming to a new school, yes. You know, I'm old enough to handle myself, but where do I go? And all these questions. So on open day, you get an opportunity to meet the point persons, that's student services, interact in a whimsical and easy environment so that you can ease in. You get to meet admissions and you get to experience some of the end products. Amazingly, a course like general studies, it might seem like, you know, it's more didactic and more academic, but general studies will have their entire display and they have interactive games and so forth. A part of the general studies, I believe, will have a model of a Mayan ruin as a part of the anthropological class. The education department, they always come, you know, extremely prepared, learning centers and so forth in both primary education and early childhood education. So we've invited some of the kindergartens from around and primary schools in an event, you know, that they can come in and actually interact, and their teachers too. Because what we didn't mention is, let's say you have an associate's degree, we do certifications in early childhood and primary education, and you might be a parent and make up your mind, you know, well, I want to shift careers. That's a good opportunity too for you to come in and.
So what would you say, Dean, is the hallmark of the education that someone gets at Sacred Heart?
Okay. What we have at Sacred Heart is that, as Angelica mentioned, is that once you're there, you're part of a family. You feel a sense of belonging. From there, I must say that when people come out of Sacred Heart, they would be able to be functional. And one of the programs that I can think of that always comes to my mind when a question like that is asked is the tourism program. Most of our students are working all over the country. We have a lot in San Pedro, down south in the tourist destinations, and in San Ignacio. They're on demand. There are people that can go and do the work, be first line managers, and that is what we like about that. Something that is new, and I must mention, because in December we're graduating our first group of students along with Ecumenical Junior College and Campbellsville University in the US, in Kentucky, is our associates and certificate in early childhood education. We, at this point, are graduating the first cohort. We're very proud of that. The students were all taught part online or part face-to-face by US lecturers. And they are doing something that is different, because in education we used to think that anybody who has studied primary ed could come and teach early childhood, and that it was a complete surprise to me as a dean of an institution to find out that that is not so. The training is so different. What children are gonna get now from these people that are trained, the impact in the community that our school will have, we're so grateful that we had this opportunity to do it.
Nice. That's so great to hear. And you know, it's always great when we get to have a perspective beyond Belize City. Unfortunately, it's a Belize-based show. But what I hear from you is that you're filling a need of the wider country, not just of San Ignacio, not just of Cayo. And that means that some of these new businesses will expand beyond Cayo as well. Tell us about this fruit business. So it's called Tiki
Touch.
Tiki Touch. All right.
Well, we have spoken as a group about continuing after our open day, because open day is our exam. That is our exam right there. So we have talked about it, and some of us are actually thinking of continuing this business and just taking it on. So because it's actually doing really good and it helps the wider community, because we have a lot of people that think, oh, I need to eat healthier, but what can I have But that right there, it's like, okay, I'll just pick up a jar and then I have toppings to choose from. So it's not just fruits, it's not just plain, I have to have fruits again.
Yeah.
I can switch up the toppings. You have 5 toppings to choose from up until now. Maybe we come up with more. We'll see.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe we could do it after we finish San Ignacio. We could have it all over the place. Who knows?
Yeah, and you have the iconic Cayo Market to get your fresh produce from. All right. So anything else you'd like to share with the public before we close off this segment?
I think whenever we think about tertiary level education, there is this stigma. I need to be academically advanced to be able to do this. And I think the biggest message we want to leave today is that anyone can do that. As we mentioned, I mean, we've expanded to embrace physical disabilities and looking into other options. We just ensure that the education is not only there, that you can access it. It's just a matter of making connections with us, and we try to guide you through to get you through your 2 years. And I always tease them that I will meet you at recruitment. I will ensure I will be there during your 2 years. I will bid you farewell temporarily at graduation, and then at some point you will come back to us to visit, because Sacred Heart is home.
Oh. All right. Well, thank you for coming in and telling us all about the work that you're doing. And we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much for having us.
We're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll be featuring a new business in Belize City. It's called Vinotopia, and that means we'll be getting into some wine. So please stay tuned.
For those who like to
we are back and we're moving into a final segment for today. As we said, we are featuring a brand new business in Belize City, and also it's going to give you an opportunity to make the perfect wine selection for the Christmas season. We have with us Solange Villanueva, who is the owner of Vinotopia. Good morning. And we have two of the bar attendants at Vinotopia, Gilbert Tech and Antonio Solis. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Okay. So Solange, let's just start off with a bit of a backdrop about Vinotopia, where the idea came from and how long you've been open.
Okay. We've been open since September 6th, and so that's roughly 2.5 months. Well, the idea behind Vinotopia is simply a passion for wine. So years ago, I was studying in Taiwan. I did my undergrad and my master's there. In my undergrad program, I did a wine classes, which are actually really difficult to get into because everybody wants to take those classes because you get to taste wine, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, really, I got into it based on my academic performance and everything, and then I started to love wine because I had to actually taste different bottles. Like I had different assignments, and I'd literally be on my table and tasting and writing notes and like that, and I started to love it, and it kind of stuck with me all through my master's program. And I started to work for a company in Taiwan that they import and sell wines, one of the biggest companies there. And because I was one of only few foreigners there that spoke both languages fluently, Mandarin and English, I was close to the owner of the company. And so I got to go on all the tastings, all the marketings, all these things. So then I started to like it, and when I came back, I did not plan to come back to live in Belize. I had planned to come here for only 6 months or a year. But I met someone, and you know that story, so I stayed here. Yes, we got married. And in the meantime, I was planning to open the store. This is like 7 years ago. I was planning to have a little tiny store where I could sell wine. But while I was searching and doing my research and everything, then I got pregnant with my first child. And
So you had to stop drinking wine.
Yeah, I had to, number one, stop drinking wine, and then she put me on bed rest, so I had to stop moving. Like literal bed rest, and so that went on a standstill, but it was still at the back of my mind. I kept searching. And after her, I decided I'm going to do it again. Then I got pregnant again, and this story is really...
And now, this year, 2019, you finally gave birth to Vinotopia.
Yes, this is the last baby. So at the beginning of this year, last year actually, at the end of last year, I saw an ad at the building, the Landmark building, where the Burn Box and McNabb is. I saw an ad for an empty space there, and I said, I want to do my wine store right there. And my husband was like, no, are you sure? I'm like, I'm sure I want to do it. I will do it. So we started to plan. I contacted someone, and they said, okay, the space is available, and what do you want to do there? I said, I want to have a wine store. They said, okay, fine, let's do it. So we started working on it, and supposedly I was supposed to open in October last year. I didn't open until this year, September. So,
well, you know, I think you offer exclusively wine at this time, right?
Yes.
And wine can be so intimidating for people.
That's true.
So if you take us back to like your first class in wine school, imagine that. I'd sign up for that one. But you know, what are some of the basics? What can you tell people about being able to pick a good wine, to be able to make the right selections, especially when you're a bit scared of not knowing enough?
Okay, I think that's a good point you made. When you said that, it also brought some thought into, I realized that also I have not said that, one of the reasons for opening the store was because I felt like people don't know enough about wine, and most people will say, "Oh, I don't like that. It's so dry and bitter."
There you
and
go.
blah,
That's
blah, right?
exactly.
And I'm
Wine's
like,
not for me.
maybe you've been drinking all the wrong wines.
Yeah.
Not that there's any wrong wine,
but not one for your palate.
yes, right. So maybe you've not been drinking to your taste. So when you said that, then and you want me to take you back, let me see what I can do.
Yeah. So let's start with Our Wine 101 this morning, right?
Basics.
Okay. First of all, part of the store, the main wines in the store come from Italy. I have from all the major wine regions, but most of them, the basis of it was Italy because I love Italian wines.
Why?
I have no idea why actually. But I came to love them. I tried Australian wines. I've tried like all kinds of wines, and I'm not saying that they're bad. I love those too, but I love Italian wines more. And so today I selected only Italian wines.
Okay.
Right? And Italy is like one of the in comparison to France, they are the top wine regions in the world, right? That's my opinion. That's a lot of people's opinion. Everybody has, because we could get into an argument here, right? So, and Italy is very interesting because of the shape of the country. So they have different climates everywhere, so that helps to produce different types of wine. Today I decided to focus on the Sangiovese, which is one of their most popular, their most planted grape, right? And from the Sangiovese we have Chianti, we have Brunello de Montalcino, Rosso de Montalcino, and all that stuff. Anyway, each one of these wines have a different color.
Yes.
And I had hoped to start actually with a Prosecco.
Okay.
Right? Let's start with a Prosecco, which is like a champagne, right? But it's not a champagne for the mere reason that it wasn't made in Champagne, France.
Yeah.
Right? But it's just as bubbly and
so it'll have a similar taste.
Yes. Yes, sparkling. And most people think that Prosecco is dry, just dry, but they're not necessarily like dry that they will make your mouth dry, right? It's just that when they are made, the way how they are made that makes them like the sugars and like that. It's less sugared and more dry, right?
So what have you found? You've been open almost 3 months. What have you found to be the favorite from people who are coming to the store? Well, it's a bar and a store, so
yes. To be honest, that is quite a difficult question because I have different people coming into the store. Some people know about wine, some people don't know, and then I start to introduce them to different things, and then they start to love this, and then they come back and they said like, we want to try something else, and we give them something else. And so far, people have taken to all the wines that I have, and they really love everything.
Yeah.
Like,
so we don't have more red versus white versus blush.
No.
Wow.
No, we have like it's like a competition. Like some week I'm like, oh wait, the sparkling is selling a lot more. Like no, today is the blush and something like that. So it's like a little, like it's right there. They're all like just like a smidge.
Okay.
Do you find that a lot of Belizeans are into wine as opposed to perhaps any other alcoholic beverage? Or is it a special niche of people?
I think there's a certain niche of people that love wine, but there's also those people who want to know about wine, who want to learn about it and say, a lot of people come to me and say that, oh no, I don't like wine because it's dry. I'm like, okay, let me see, what type of wines were you drinking? And they mention a few and I say, okay, let me give you a sample of something and you can tell me if it's dry for you. And so far I have not missed
All right, so that means we'll pick something to your palate.
We'll figure it out this morning.
Yeah, all right. So we got the bottle open there. Gilbert is helping us out. Gilbert, you help people with selections too?
To be very honest, I'm just getting there.
Oh, so you're in training, like us.
So,
yeah.
so Gilbert,
we're learning step by step. You know, the wine is a very, very unique mixture, I should say, and it really takes time to learn it.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to educate people with wine. It's not like just selling wine.
Yeah.
Gilbert is he's an amazing server, and then we have Antonio who just came on with us, and he's being trained by Gilbert, and then I'm trying to train them about the wine.
Okay.
So that's what's going on here.
So we
A
go
lot of
step by
education.
step.
Yes.
I know. All right, so go ahead.
So here today we are featuring the Prosecco.
This is a Giorgio Buffon Prosecco. This comes directly to us from Italy. So most of, like all of my wines, you can't find them on shelves anywhere in the US and even in Central America. Actually, the Italian wines, it's the first time ever to be shipped to anywhere in Central America.
Oh, wow.
Even the US might not have some of these bottles that I have. And the other regional wines, you might find them in Central America, but you won't find them in Belize. So we're the first in Belize, in Central America, to have these wines.
That's good.
Nice.
So we're just gonna pour this.
So how would you explain to someone about what to expect when they select this particular wine?
The Prosecco?
Yeah.
Okay, well, most people, when they ask for a sparkling, they will ask me for a champagne.
Okay.
But I actually don't sell champagne.
Yeah.
I sell one champagne on just one in store. And so I always explain to them, well, this is like a champagne. It's not a champagne just because of, you know, it's not been branded because it wasn't made there.
Yeah.
They have all the copyrights and all that. So try it and
Look at the bubbles. Those are trying to show first.
Interesting taste.
Interesting. Go ahead. Let's hear your wine vocabulary. What do you taste?
I don't have much of a wine vocabulary, I'll admit that. However, I don't know, it's kind of like partly dry. Is that fair to say for
yes,
this one?
it's fair. It's fair. It's very fair.
And I'm recognizing.
What do you smell when you put the glass to your nose?
That's a good question.
Because one of the first things,
There's no wrong answer.
like the basic wine knowledge is like like sight,
Yeah.
smell, taste, right? And so first you check the color. Well, that's mostly like we try to do it with white sandwich, right? But for this, it has a smell too. This one has a what do you smell? Very fruity, right? Yeah, I like this Prosecco. So we smell it, and then we put it in you take a sip, swig it, big swig, because your tongue is where all the taste buds are, right? So then you take a big swig and then you swallow. I feel like you.
There it is. No, okay, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
And you also offer pairings as well,
Yes,
which is why
yes.
we have our plate here.
Yeah. We offer, we have several meats
So
and
good,
cheeses in store. I actually have them for in-store, right?
Okay.
Just to help, you know, have a little bite. You don't want to just, some people don't want to just sit down and drink the whole, some people do, but you know. So we have some cheeses, some meats, some dry cured meats, and we have like not sure how many meats and cheeses I have, but I have quite a selection.
Okay.
So what would you pair the Prosecco with in terms of meats and cheeses?
Meats and cheeses, I would go with, actually you could go with salty or you could go with sweet, but more like salty, I'd say. Yeah. And yeah, so that's about our platter.
Okay.
We also have these breadsticks which we get them custom made from a store here, a local store as well, at Caramello. So all our breads and our breadsticks are Belizean made. I just requested an Italian version.
Yeah.
Right? And then we all now started to do the to-go boxes because everybody's been asking me for these platters.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, awesome. So you can get your meat and cheese platter, and you can also get your selection of wine. So we're running short with time. We want to move into our next.
Let's go with.
So we did or sparkling. That was the first.
We were gonna go with blush, but how much time do we have?
Probably about 10 minutes.
Okay, so let's go with red then.
So blush is. I mean,
it's a
I find a lot of people like blush.
Yeah.
That's just, but I know most of the people I know don't like dry wines. Period.
It's
so
sweeter.
they go blush. Yeah.
This one is sweeter, especially.
Yeah.
This one.
So for someone who absolutely doesn't like wine, where would you start them off at?
White,
red, blush.
I would go with someone who doesn't
Let's say newcomer.
Okay,
newcomer. Sample everything.
All right, so if I were your guinea pig, right?
Yeah. So, Sani is a beer drinker.
Yeah, I'm more of a beer heavy drinker type person, not so much on the wine. Where would I begin from?
And what types of things do you like? Do you like spicy? Do you like sweet?
Spicy is good.
Spicy is good. Okay, I would start you with a specific bottle that I have in store and not here, but I would start you with that because it's like most people who like the spicy wine, they spicy palate, they like a Syrah.
Yeah.
That a Syrah is very good for that palate, and actually a Nero d'Avola is a good one for that too. It's a fruitier wine, but it also has some spice notes in it.
Okay.
So let's open this for Isani.
So, all right, so I'll do the blush and you do the red.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the blush, and the reason I say that, and you know this very well, is my compromise because my sisters love sweet and I like dry. So this is our happy medium.
For me, I like dry wines.
Me too.
Like, but not dry that, like I explained earlier, right? But I like drier wines. And actually, drier wines have less sugar, right? So that's like mental for me too, I guess, because I don't eat a lot of sugar. So I would definitely go with the bolder, drier wines.
Yeah.
And I have it's in here, the other bottle.
And even in your blushes or in your rosés, it goes from a little bit sweeter to a little bit drier as well.
Yes, we have drier, we have sweeter, we have fruitier, we have more like tart. Don't want to say tart, but yeah, tart wines. Blush, even from red, white, everything. So,
all right.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
So this wasn't the first pick, but this is the pick we have available that is supposed to ease you into becoming a wine drinker.
So Solange, is the same process. I take a huge gulp and swig.
Yes, smell.
Yeah. It's smelling
What's
like
your first
the strong
impression?
grapes, like. Yeah, it's pretty strong. Okay, so now I take a sip.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead. I feel like everybody's watching Sani.
I know. Okay, I won't watch you. This is delicious, though. I like this.
This has a different taste, quite honestly. I was describing the first one as dry. This one, I don't know.
It's
not as dry. No, it isn't.
Is it more? I mean,
it's fruitier, isn't it?
It has some notes of something I've tasted before. I'm trying to put my
and
mind
that
in.
is a good thing too. Like when you're smelling and tasting, you're tapping into your senses, your memory senses, right? So you're thinking. Sometimes it's kind of hard for people who have not tasted certain things to relate it.
Yeah.
But if you've tasted different things and then you can relate it to that taste. So like maybe I don't know if you tried peach. So okay, maybe it tastes like peach, like the first one over there, or strawberries or red berries. Or
So there's a sort of like an association between what you're tasting and perhaps what you've had before in terms of a fruit or what have you.
Or even the woody smells, like those are the ones you can associate. But see, would you become more of a wine drinker if it tastes like that?
I have an open palate.
Okay, let's go with this one. This is, I'm gonna have you guys taste this because this is a Barolo. And in Italy, this is like known as the king of wines, right?
Okay.
Like this is like the top, right?
Yeah.
And the bigger glasses. Where are the bigger glasses? Oops. Do you have another glass? I'll just use this.
Yeah.
Okay, usually we can allow this to decant.
Yeah.
But this wine actually does not need much decanting.
Yeah. And that's when you say let it
When
breathe.
we let it breathe.
Yeah.
Decanting means that the purpose of decanting is to let all the aromas, everything circulate inside and let out like I always visualize it like, oh my God, is everything just coming out? So,
it's like a diffuser. If you use a diffuser in your house, use a decanter.
I'll put wine in my diffuser.
All right.
And this wine you can actually drink at room temperature, and it's pretty.
So let's
smooth.
let's
It's a
talk
smoother
about
wine.
the experience when someone goes to Vinotopia. So I walk in. Let's say I'm going with friends. I don't know anything about wine. You give me a wine list. I'm completely intimidated. I don't know what anything is.
Where to start from? What happens?
Do you offer advice? I mean, what's your suggestion to someone before they say, no, I don't want to go there because I don't know wines? What do you say to them about coming in? And
What I normally do is I ask them if they've been there. Well, I would know if they've been there or not because I'm there all the time. But I have the guys ask them if they've been there or not, and then if they said they haven't been there, and then I always explain to them that the wines I have are not. I'm trying to get my menu here.
Yeah.
They are not typical to Belize, right? So, and I would go through, because I have my menus on iPad, and so I go through the iPad and I explain them how to use the iPad.
Okay.
And they could browse through. And
So they can go based on regions.
yes, whites,
Yeah.
rosés, and their little platters, and
Yeah.
sparkling and all that, right?
Yeah.
And then I would tell them how to use it, and each category has a description underneath. So they could read that, and then they could ask me some questions. Or if they don't want to bother with the iPad, then they could always call me over and I
ask for a recommendation.
Yeah, and I would ask them certain
And you do
questions.
a bit like what you did with Isani.
Yes.
What do you like to eat? What do you
Yeah.
normally drink?
Yeah, I ask a lot of different questions and I try to figure out what they would like based on what I have. So it means I have to know all my wines, right? And I've literally tasted all my wines, so I know what.
So in the
I
two
have
and a
there.
half months that you guys have been open, what has been the reception or the traffic in terms of persons finding out about Vinotopia and stopping by?
Well, people find out about it through friends. I don't do a lot of advertising actually because what I loved about my store is that people come in and spend quality time together.
Yeah.
I hardly see people on their phones or they're actually having meaningful conversations and they're like being there with each other. And when they leave, they say they love it and everything, and then somebody else comes in and says, oh, my friend was here, and so I came back and I heard that it has a nice vibe and it's gorgeous, and a lot of people say it's perfect.
What is your demographic like though? Do you find that young people come in and taste wine, or is it more of a certain age range?
I have a huge, because we have the young people looking for somewhere to go on Fridays, and then we have the middle and the older people, and they come at different times. Everybody comes at different time. So
And you're open from what time?
From 2:30 to 10.
Okay.
All right.
Nice.
On Wednesday to Saturday only though.
Saturday.
Excellent. Now, the most important question here, Solange, is it affordable? Because that's the other mental barrier that people have in terms of drinking wine.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a good question. Yes, when I planned this store, I also planned it to be affordable because my husband and I are huge wine drinkers. And we go to a lot of restaurants, a lot of wine stores, and we always find like basic wines super high priced, right? So when I research, I try to find the good quality wines at reasonable prices. That way that it won't be so expensive for everyone to purchase.
That you can purchase a bottle without breaking the bank.
Yes, right.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, and you can also get these platters that you make right there in the bar and have them along with your wine. You do sangria too? Is that what I saw just now on screen?
Yes, on Wednesdays we have sangria. Actually, that was just like a little, I don't know, that was just like an afterthought. And I was like, people want sangria. I'm like, why would you make wine into sangria? I don't know, but okay, you guys want it, let's do it. So we did sangria Wednesdays. I came up with Sangria Wednesdays, which totally does not rhyme or anything, but it's a thing now. And so yes, I do sangrias. And one other thing is that all my wines are organic wines. Yeah, they're organic. They come from small vineyards who take their time, people who take their time to the way how they produce and they create these wines.
Nice. All right. So Vinotopia is in Belize City. It's at what is the name of the street?
Westland.
I don't know. It's behind,
the landmark building where the Burn Box and
Burn Box Gym is. That's behind behind UB, behind the Universal Belize Healthcare Partners. And that's how you can find it. But you're also on Facebook and Instagram, so people can contact you there for directions. And more importantly, you can be able to enjoy a bottle of wine with good friends, with loved ones. You have people like Solange and Gilbert and Antonio there to help you out and enjoy some great cheese and fruits as well. Thank you so much for coming in and helping us to discover
Isani's favorite.
Yeah, right? I think Isani will be a wine drinker now.
Discovery mode.
But you know what the good thing is? When you're a wine drinker, it's easier to receive presents because everybody can just buy your wine, right? Yeah. Makes life easy for everyone. All right. So today is Tuesday. You're not open. You open tomorrow.
Yes, I'm open tomorrow.
And that'll be for Sangria Day. All right. Thank you.
But you can also buy wine on Sangria Day.
Yeah. And you also sell your platters to go as well. Thank you, Solange, and best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
We're going to go ahead and take our final break. And when we come back, we'll have our wrap up. So stay tuned.
Belize Bank's Christmas Flexi Loans are here.
educational institutions can really help to fill necessary gaps. And it's not to say that our police officers are uneducated, because I do know police officers who have attained a master's degree, or Commissioner has his law degree. But the point is that not all of them have been able to further their education, and Sacred Heart Junior College has allowed them that opportunity. Hopefully other institutions take up things like that as well. Because the better trained they are, the better they're able to execute their duties. But nonetheless, Sacred Heart Junior College has their open day coming up. The advertisement is out as well. And if you are looking for to find out more, you can always contact them and see what new programs they have as well.
And of course, our friends over at BAPTA and Stella Maris. Remember, the Disability Week comes up on the 2nd.
Yeah.
The 2nd of December, right? Yeah. But it all kicks off on the 1st with the ecumenical mass.
Church service,
to kick things off on the right foot.
Yeah.
And so we urge our viewers to participate. If you know someone with diverse abilities and you want to be a part of it, then hey, it's an open invitation to come on out and take part in the activities.
And there are going to be activities all week long. There's some trainings that are taking place for teachers for inclusive education. The Belize Association for Persons with Diverse Abilities are launching their disability IDs, which means if you see someone, if someone presents you this ID from BAPTA, do take into consideration that they have special needs. They are not incapable, they just have special requirements, and any assistance you can offer them is always welcomed. They're issuing about 300. If you would like to get yourself registered with BAPTA, you can contact them, get your disability ID as well, and it'll be helpful for you when you try to maneuver around in your own communities. And also remember to support the Special Olympics Belize. The National Games take place next Friday in Belize City at Marion Jones. The law enforcement torch run is going to go around the country before that, collecting funds to help to cover the cost of the Olympics. And it's just a great opportunity to inspire children with special needs to be able to showcase their abilities. In fact, their motto is, let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in my attempt. And that is essentially what you want. You want to be able to show how talented these children are in other ways. Okay?
Yeah, and so that's where we are.
Well, you know, I got some cheese and grapes and strawberries to dive into, so we're going to say goodbye.
I have a bottle of red wine to complete.
All right. Remember, if you want to contact us, you can send us an email. Send us an email to oye@channel5belize.com. Drop me a line at marleni_oye@channel5belize.com. You can, of course, find us on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ and get all the behind-the-scenes fun on Instagram at OYE Belize. And remember to tune in tomorrow morning at 6:30 when you open your eyes.
Start your morning right.
Until then, keep your eyes, your mind,
and your hearts open.
We'll see you soon. Enjoy your day, Belize.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.